Hello students, once again a very warm welcome to Meso Study Sessions. So in today's class, as you can see, we will be talking about some questions exercise, and as we are dealing with the chapter diversity in living organism, we have completed the whole chapter. Now I'll tell you how to attempt questions. So it's just a practice class, and also we will be focusing on only 10 questions. So you don't have to be strict towards these 10 questions only, revise many more questions as well. Right. So let's start the today's session with the question number 1. So whole session that includes the 10 questions. Each of the questions, they are divided into the separate categories. Out of these, the first 3 questions are of 1 marks. So just have a look for the question number 1. So your question number 1 states, name one basic characteristics of classifying an organism. Hope you will be having an answer right now, right? So in this case, as we are talking about what is the one basic characteristics of the classifying an organism, we always see that we have a 2 type of organism. We classify the different organisms present on the earth's surface on the basis of one single category, that is on the basis of their cellular structure. Are they prokaryotic organism or the eukaryotic organism? So this is the first answer, that is on the basis of cell structure. On the basis of cell structure. And majorly we know that we have 2 type of organisms. One is called as one is having a prokaryotic type of arrangement. Prokaryotic. And second, we have is a eukaryotic. Or you can also say in some of the organisms, the unicellularity is seen. In some of the organisms, the multicellularity is also seen. But first of all, we focus on this first characteristics. Whether they are prokaryote, that means do they have a well-defined nucleus present or they do not have a well-defined nucleus present in them. Instead, in case of the prokaryotes, we have a one nucleoid present. No such membrane-bound organelles present in the prokaryote, whereas in case of the eukaryote, the membrane-bound organelles, such as in case of the plants, we have is a chloroplast present. We have a mitochondria in plants and animal cell both. We have endoplasmic reticulum, we have ribosomes present, we have a Golgi body, the lysosome, the vacuole, so many cell organelles which is present in case of the eukaryote. Right. So the basic unit, if you'll write that cell structure, you'll get a correct 1 mark. So let's move on to the second question. Again, the second question is also from the same category, that is of a 1 mark. So when you are attempting such type of questions, one thing should be clear in your mind, that is how your marks is distributed. Don't waste your time in attempting 1 marks question for your writing stories for the 1 mark question. Don't do that. Do one thing, if you want to attempt a 1 mark question, complete it within a 1 sentence or a 2 sentence, or wheresoever it is required to write a 1 word only, just do write 1 word. Because these are those type of questions in which you cannot spend much of time and you can score in a better way. So let's move on to the question number 2. What was the modification introduced by the Weiss in kingdom Monera? So first of all, if I ask you one question regarding the scientist name, that is a Weiss. Weiss was the first person who classified all the organism which is present on the earth crust into the 6 kingdom. Before that, it was a 5 kingdom system of classification. Let's have a look. So initially it was a 5 kingdom system of classification. Initially, the scenario was this thing. In the 5 kingdom system of classification, organisms, they were divided into 5 different kingdoms. The first, they were unicellular prokaryote organisms that are considered as a Monera. Right? After that, we have is a Protista. Third, we have is the fungi. How can we forget about one of the diverse group that is called as a kingdom Plantae? And we all know, we all organisms, we all animals, we come under the kingdom Animalia. Right? These were initially the 5 kingdom system of classification, but we don't have to answer this. This is just I'm trying to explain you, so it's a bit lengthier. Later on, the 5 kingdom system of classification was a bit modified by Carl Weiss. Carl Weiss gave 6 kingdom system of classification. 6 kingdom system of classification. These are very, very, very important scientists. So you should keep this thing in mind, that who gave the 6 kingdom system of classification. That's why I have took such type of question in this practice paper. So in this case, rest everything was same, but the Monera, they were further divided into the 2 kingdom. The first we have is those organisms which evolved first during the course of evolution. That is archaebacteria, such as thermophiles are there, thermoacidophiles are there. So in this case, first of all, we have is a archaebacteria. Halophiles, thermoacidophiles, the methanogens, right? After that, we have is another kingdom, that is a eubacteria, a normal bacteria. Archaebacteria, they were those group of organisms who can easily survive in harsh environmental condition. Where the temperature can be high, they can live over there as well. Where the salt conditions, they are like very much adverse, in that condition also these organisms can easily survive. That is why archaebacteria, they are considered as a first living organism that is found on the earth's surface. So archaebacteria, after that the protista remains same. So if I'll tell you the 2 words in which you have to define, I think you will be able to define right now. That is a protista, they are unicellular eukaryotic organisms. So after that you have is a fungi, and the next you have is a plantae, and the last but very, very, very important, even human being is a social animal. So we have is a kingdom Animalia. So just have a look and count how many kingdoms we have right now, which was given by the Carl Weiss. So first of all, we have is a archaebacteria, right? The eubacteria. So these are the 2 different kingdoms which arise in the 6 kingdom classification. So what you have to answer in this? In this case, the Moneran, the kingdom Moneran, they were further divided into 2 separate kingdoms. The first is a kingdom Archaebacteria and second is a Eubacteria. So this was the basic difference. And the third, you know, the Protista, which is same as that of the 5 kingdom classification, the fungi, the plantae and Animalia. The rest all they were same only, right? This is how you have to answer. So this was the second question. Let's move on to the next question, that is a question number 3. Again, a very, very, very good question. Define the term hermaphrodite. When I was discussing about the kingdom Animalia, when I was discussing regarding the annelids, etc., at that time I told you that many times we have discussed this particular word, that is a hermaphrodite. At that time I discussed that these words, they are very, very, very important. Sometimes they can be asked in a 1 marks or the 2 marks or the 3 marks. So very important terminologies these are. So the whole session of today's, they include certain different terminologies also, which we have already used in the sessions. So to talk about the hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodites, these are those organisms in which the male and the female reproductive structures both are present. For example, in case of your common earthworm, so those organisms who have both male and female reproductive structures. right? They are termed as a hermaphrodite organisms. So in this we have an example, for example, the earthworm, a common earthworm. And we have discussed also, students, if I ask you one question, I think you will be able to answer that. What is the scientific name of earthworm? That is a Pheretima posthuma. Pheretima posthuma. So whenever any kind of definition in 1 mark is asked, irrespective whether it is mentioned in the question or not, but you have to give an example as well, right? Otherwise you will just get half marks, right? So let's move on to the next question. So this is question number 4. Hope you have noted down this. So read this question properly. Very, very, very important. This was asked in some of the question paper. So I thought to take this question. This is a 2 mark question. What are species? We all know about the species. Species is the lowest category when we talk about the classification of organisms. So, but we have to state, so question has a little of turn. Let's have a look. State in the terms of hierarchy of classification and second in the relation to reproduction. Yes, so we have to define species in a 2 different way. First, in the hierarchy of the classification. Now to talk about the species are those group of organisms which are having very much characteristic features similar, and also you can say that they cannot be reproductively isolated. Reproductively isolated means they can interbreed with one another and they can produce a fertile offspring. That is why these organisms, they are considered as a species. So if I have to define in the first, that is a hierarchy of classification. So species is the lowest hierarchy of classification. Lowest hierarchy of classification. Right? Hope you remember that different hierarchy of the classification which we have discussed. First of all, we have as a kingdom. We classify the organism into different kingdoms, which we have already studied. After that, we have as a phylum. After that, we have as a class. Then we have as an order, then family, then genus, and the last we have as a species. So species are those group of organisms which are very much related to one another. So what are these? Which are very much related to one another. So this is the first definition according to the first part. So if you will define the first one, you will get 1 marks because both of these parts, they are of 2 marks. Second, you have in relation of a reproduction. So you will say that species are those group of organism who can, very, very, very important definition, who can interbreed and produce fertile offspring. This is very important. Without writing that they will produce a fertile offspring, your answer is incomplete. Interbreeding can be possible artificially, but in some cases what happens, the fertile offsprings are not produced when there is a breeding between the interspecies, right? When the 2 species organism belonging to 2 different species, when they interbreed with one another, in that case the chances that you cannot produce a fertile offspring. In some cases, the hybrid breakdown can also happen. So this is a complete definition with respect to species in the first and the second question which was asked. So let's move on to the next question. Again, the next question is differentiate between a Bryophyta and Pteridophyta. Give an example of both of these. Again, a very good and a very direct question as well. At the time when I was discussing about these two different categories, we have discussed in detail as well as the difference among these. So, first of all, I'll write over here the bryophyta, and second I'll write over here the pteridophytes. So, whenever the differences are asked, try to write differences in this manner. So, in case of the bryophytes, the plant body is of a gametophyte. So, first is plant body is gametophyte. Whereas, in the case of the pteridophyte, the plant body is of sporophyte. Plant body is sporophyte. Right. Second difference is, in this case, they are anchored to the surface with the help of the rhizoid. So, bryophytes anchored to the surface via rhizoids. Right. Whereas in this case, the fixation is done because of the roots. So, in this case, fixation to surface by roots. We all know in the higher organism, when we talk about the plants, we have a well defined roots present. Whereas in this case of the bryophytes, no true stem and no true leaves are present. Let's write in this case. So, in this case, the plant body is either thallus or foliose, right? That means no true stem or leaves are present. No true stem or no true leaves are present. Whereas in this case, the true stem and the true leaf is present. Right. Now, let us talk about some more differences. So, in this case, what is happening? The sporophyte is parasite on gametophyte throughout life, right? Whereas in this case, the gametophyte is independent. So, in this case, the gametophyte is very much small as well, and you can write it is independent. You have many differences among these. As per the bryophytes are considered, they are also called as a non-vascular plant. So, I am writing over here, these are non-vascular plants. Whereas your pteridophytes are vascular plants. They require outside water for the process of fertilization, whereas a pteridophyte do not require outside water for the process of fertilization. And they are asking one example from each of these cases. You can write, in this case we have is a Rickettsia, Riccia. Whereas in this you can take one example of Selaginella. I am writing over here, that is a Selaginella. So these are the two examples. This is the last point. They're asking only one example, so I have given only one. This is how you have to attempt such questions. So when differentiate is asking, try to make like difference in the form of column only. Right? So this was a question number 5. Let's move on to the next question. Now again, read this question properly. By the time, let me prepare this board for you. So the question indicates that what is meant by a warm-blooded animals and cold-blooded animal. A very good question, and we have discussed n number of time in the sessions that cold-blooded animals are those animals whose body temperature doesn't remain constant, rather than the changes with the outside environment. Suppose outside environment is somewhere or other 35 degrees Celsius. My body temperature will also be 35 degrees Celsius if I am cold-blooded animal. If suppose I am a warm-blooded animal, if suppose it's not a if, suppose we are a warm-blooded animal only and we have a higher body temperature. Our body temperature remain constant at one particular place only. This is because of the heat which is generated in the body because of all the metabolic activities which is happening. So these are called as a warm-blooded animal. So just have a look. So warm-blooded animals are those whose body temperature remain constant. Right? Remain constant and is higher because of metabolic activities, and or you can write and maintained because of metabolic activities. So heat which is generated during the metabolic activities, that is utilized for maintaining a proper temperature of a body. So as this is just a definition, but we will not stop here. We will also discuss some of the examples as well. So in this case, we have an examples like birds and mammals. Birds and mammals. Right? This is what? Warm-blooded animals. Now they are asking one more different type of organism, which is a cold-blooded animal. So let's have a look. Cold-blooded animals. So what are these cold-blooded animals? Whose body temperature are those whose body temperature doesn't remain constant. But changes with the outside environment. So these type of organisms, they are also called as a poikilotherms. Another name, that is a poikilotherms. Whereas those which are having a constant body temperature, they are also called as a homeotherms. In this you can write one example, that is a reptiles, your amphibians, your fishes, etc. Right? So this was the question number 6, where the two parts they have asked regarding the warm-blooded animal and the cold-blooded animal. This is how you have to answer. A 2 marks question, right? So note down this, I'll be back. So students, hope you have noted down this. Let's move on to the next question. So the next question is question number 7. Again this question from the different category, that is of a 3 marks. So let me prepare this board for you. Read this question. So they are asking that we have to explain the following terms. So explain the following terms. The first you have is a bilateral symmetry. So just have a look. Suppose I have one organism, let's have a look over here, and I have already explained in the session also. This is an organism. If I wish to divide this organism, in what ways, in how many ways I can divide this organism? I can divide this organism like this, so that the organism will be divided into 2 equal half. Similarly, I can divide the organism like this as well. Just have a look. I can divide this organism like this as well. I can divide this organism in this way as well. So these organisms, they are not bilateral symmetrical. Whereas these organisms, because they are divided into 2 equal half by many planes which pass from the center of the body, this is called as a radial symmetry. Whereas let's talk about a human body, right? Let's talk about a human body. Right? In how many ways can I divide this body? I can only divide by a single plane, by a plane which passes from the center of my body, in which one half of the body will be having one eye, half of the mouth present, one arm and the one leg, right? This is how I can divide. This is called as a bilateral symmetrical organisms. So as you move from a lower organism to the higher organism, we see that we have bilateral symmetrical more prevalent. We don't have a radial symmetry as such. So in this case, let's define, if the question comes from these different terminologies, this is how you have to answer. So what is a bilateral symmetry? Right? That means body of organism, it's all about the arrangement of body, right? Body of organism can be divided into 2 equal half by single plane only, passes from center of body. Center of body, right? For example, all your mammals, they are bilateral symmetrical. So this is the first definition. Let's look at the second definition. So second you have is a triploblastic animals. So as the name indicates, triploblastic, that means somewhere or other the 3 things are involved. Tri means 3. But here we know that the blastic means that regarding, they are telling us about the germ layer. So these are those organisms in which the 3 germ layers are present. The first you have is ectoderm, then endoderm, then in between them we have is a mesoderm present. So in these organisms, three germ layer, for example, ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. This is not meso study MISO, this is MESO, right? So don't get confused, this is mesoderm. So they have ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm present. which further give rise to different body structures, like some of the structures, they are derived from the ectoderm, some are derived from the endoderms, and some are derived from the mesoderm. So these organisms, they are called as a triploblastic organisms. All the higher chordates, we organisms, we are triploblastic animals only, right? So you have to write the examples as well. So let's have a look for the question number 7, third part. That indicates an open circulatory system. A very easy question, right? And hope you can answer this as well. So if I ask you one question that in our case, do we have is open circulatory system or a closed circulatory system? We have is a closed circulatory system. In those organisms where the open circulatory system is present, that means in that case no arteries are present and no veins are present. That means that all the body tissue, they are bathed in the blood. A complete connection is there, whereas in our case, our body tissue, they are not bathed. Rather than the small capillaries are present in which the blood flows, right? And they have a complete organ, that is a heart is present, which help in the pumping of blood. So the third, they are asking open circulatory system. Right? For example, in case of arthropods, so body cells bathed in blood means they do not have arteries and capillaries. No, as such the fine capillaries are present, right? Arthropods. In case of the arthropods, the open circulatory system is seen, right? So this was a question number 7. Let's move on to the next question, that is a question number 8. Again, they are asking some kind of differentiate. So let's have a look. How are pteridophyte different from phanerogames? Again, a very good question, very important as well. Pteridophyte we have already discussed in the today's session when I was discussing about the differentiate between the pteridophytes and the bryophytes. But now they are asking a difference between a pteridophytes and the phanerogames. So, first of all, I'll write over here pteridophyte. Second you have is phanerogames, right? Pteridophytes, these are those in which the seeds are not produced, or you can say these are the seedless plants. So the first point, the first basic difference is that these are seedless plants, whereas your phanerogames, they are seed producing plants. Right? Now, in case of the pteridophytes, the gametophytes which are produced, they are independent and small. So, gametophyte is small and independent, right? Whereas in case of the phanerogames, what is the case? In this case, the gametophyte dependent on sporophyte. Right. In this case of the pteridophyte, the reproductive structure are inconspicuous. The reproductive organs are inconspicuous. Whereas in the case of the phanerogams, the reproductive structures, reproductive organ are conspicuous. Right. So, pteridophytes are those plants in which they do not require an external water for the fertilization process, whereas the phanerogams, they require external fertilization, external water. So, external water, I am writing over here, external water source, actually they require, sorry, for fertilization. In this case, there is no as such requirement. So, I am just writing no. So, these are the differences between the pteridophyte and the phanerogams. These are the seedless plant, whereas the phanerogams, these are the seed producing plants. Gametophyte is small and independent, whereas in this case, the gametophyte is dependent upon the sporophyte. The reproductive organs are inconspicuous, whereas in this case the reproductive organs are conspicuous. External source of water is required for the process of fertilization, whereas they do not require as such supply. So, this was the question number 8. Let us move on to our last category, that is a 5 marks question. So, just have a look again. So, look at this question number 9, this is of a 5 marks, very easy. The question seems big, but very easy. If you know the basic concept, you can answer this question within seconds. So, question number 9 indicate XYZs are living organisms, right? Right, okay. So, in the A part, they say identify the group to which they belong on the basis of the following features. Okay, they are telling the features is given. Now, this question is quite opposite. Normally, what they do, they ask the feature of the different group of organisms. Now, they have given feature and we have to identify the group of organisms. So, X, it is written over here, these are the microscopic unicellular prokaryotic organism. Hope the answer is there in your mind. So, in this case, we have is a monerans. So, my monerans are the Monera. So, monerans, these are those organisms which are microscopic, that we know, and also these are those organisms which are single cellular and do not have as such differentiation within the different organelles. So, these are the prokaryotic organisms. So, that means this is also clear to you. So, next why microscopic, okay, again the unicellular, that is also fine, but this time they are saying that it is a eukaryotic organisms, and listen very carefully, and they show locomotion with the help of a pseudopodia and the flagella. So, in this case the correct answer you have is a protista. Protista, right students? So, let us look at the third. Z is a multicellular filamentous eukaryotic autotrophic and aquatic. Again, just read this carefully, multicellular, okay, that means they are talking about a higher organism. Filamentous, that means somewhere or other they are talking about those plants which are filamentous, whereas these are eukaryotic, okay, the plants are eukaryotic, they are autotrophic, they can prepare their own food, that also we know. And the last they have written over here the aquatic. That means they are talking about which group of organism? They are talking about the Plantae, that means a Thallophyta. So, in this case, Plantae, Thallophyta. So, can anyone give me the example of the Plantae and the Thallophyta? So, in this we have an example like Spirogyra. They do undergo the process of photosynthesis, that means they are autotrophic, they are multicellular, they are filamentous and they are aquatic as well. So again, the B part, the first part is clear to you. The B part states which amongst the above is most advanced. We all know as we move from the different kingdoms, starting from a Monera to the Protista, then the fungi, the plantae and the animalia, the advancement keeps on increasing. So it's quite definite that these are those group of organisms which are most advanced. See, such type of questions, if they come in your examination, they can give you a complete of 5 marks. You have to be very careful while reading the question. Answer will be there in the single word. So, a single word can give you a whole marks of a 5, which itself is a very huge number. So, in that respect, you should read this question very carefully. Do not do any kind of mistake. Let's look at the C option. Name one organism that belong to the XYZ. Yes, we can give the name of the organisms. So, in case of the monerans, we have an example you can take such as a bacteria. Next, the protista, the example that you know, that is a amoeba. Yes, this is also clear to us. And the plantae and the thallophyta. In this, you can take an example of a Spirogyra. Spirogyra, right? Now, just come back. So, this was a question number 9. Right, we have attempted all the parts. Let's move on to the next question, that is the question number 10. So, read this question carefully. Identify the 3 features possessed by all the cortex. We have n number of the features we have studied in the sessions. So, they are asking just 3 and we can give them. So, the first feature is that chordates. First, they have notochord present. Second feature, they have dorsal hollow nerve cord. Is it clear to you? Right. Other than that, the next feature is that they are coelomates. Other feature is that they have pharyngeal gill slits. Very direct and very easy answer. Hope you can give by yourself as well. So, we have n number of the list and they are just asking about the 3 and we can write that. Let's move on to the B. Name the classes of the vertebrates which the following are the characteristics. First, they have given animals that have a streamlined body and the gills for breathing. We all know we have only one group of organisms which are having a gills for breathing and also the streamlined body. In this case, they are talking about the class that is a Pisces. So, Pisces means to say we are referring over here the fishes which live in water. They have the streamlined body which is just like that of an aeroplane. Right, so that the minimum water resistance can be there and they can easily float or swim in water. Next is the animals that are found on both land and water. So, in this case, answer you know, that is an amphibian. For example, your frog, they can live in water as well as in land, right. So, in this case, the third part indicates animals that have a mammary glands for the production of the milk to nourish their young ones. These are the most advanced animals, right, and they can easily nourish their young one and show the process of the vivipary, though we have certain exceptions as well, but they are asking about a group of organisms which are termed as mammals, V organisms. So, these are the different 3 classes. They are asking a easy question. If you read this question carefully, then only you will be able to answer. So, don't get scared because the question is quite huge. It is very easy as well. So, this is how we have already discussed, this is how we completed the today's session when we have discussed the 10 questions from the different separate category. Hope this session is clear to you. We'll meet you in next session when we'll discuss a new chapter. Till then, take care of yourself and thank you so much students for watching this.